Hey everyone, this is Cullahale from Destination Thrills, and I'm here with a sneak peek due to this guy whose sister works here, and this is my brother Kanoa. You haven't met him yet on the videos, but we are here checking out Fright Fest before it opens this weekend, so we're gonna check out the haunted houses and everything they got to offer, so stay tuned. Hey guys, this is Cullahale back at the house, and I just wanted to let you know that after this vlog is over, stick around toward the end because we're going to do a full rankings of all the mazes that we visited, and I'll give you kind of a brief review and a brief sneak peek of what to expect. So again, make sure you stick around for that and enjoy the vlog.
Agree, the other lights right over there. So walk a little soft shell. Or probably right there.
We just did Night Terrors, now we're headed over to Camp Kilmore.
I thought it worked out pretty well.
Camp Kilmore has changed locations this year, so it is now behind
Hurricane Harbor.
Yeah, it's behind Hurricane Harbor instead of through it, so maybe it's
Let's go!
We're all getting pumped for it, so. We just got out of Camp Kilmore, and it was pretty good. It was kind of short, but the effects are a lot better than what they had in the old one by Hurricane Harbor, so. I thought it was a little bit better, but definitely new and something you gotta check out, so.
Let's go!
What did you think of Camp Kilmore? Besides, okay, fun. Okay, first of all, I forgot to mention this. Is some girl, the poor actor, was running and she slipped and fell on her butt. But she played it off pretty good. Like she played it off as if she meant to do that. So I don't know. It was fun. It
had people questioning it. That's
it was
for sure.
I will say it was a lot shorter than what Camp Kilmore was last year. So Christian, any thoughts?
It was better last year.
Yeah, I thought so too. So, all right, well, we're moving on to another one. We'll let you know what we did. I think we're walking by Slaughterhouse now, so we'll let you know. Let's go, baby! In the Slaughterhouse. We're checking out the new Oddball Funhouse.
Let's go! Let's go!
Oh, so you're going in through, so this is a new one for 2019. It looks like you go through Thunder River's exit. There's the freeze. Yep. So we'll let you know how it is. Slaughterhouse so far has been the best one. Oh, this is great. All right, we just did Oddball's Funhouse.
Woo!
And that was a good one. Christian said it was what, your favorite?
Yeah, that's my favorite one so far.
Yeah, so that one, the new one, I like it. It's got good potential. But so far, Slaughterhouse I think has been the best. So we're headed over to the last one.
I got more scared in that one because I wasn't.
Yeah, that one was good because it was just us in there, and yeah, there was a lot of. I feel like there was a lot of scare actors in there as well. So. Anyway, we're doing the last one, Blind Fury. Does this happen? So as you can see, we had a great time at employee preview night. Shout out to Christian for hooking us up with the entry and his sister. We appreciate that. But overall, I mean, such a fun time. It's always good to visit during Fright Fest, and even though none of the rides were open and a lot of the scare zones weren't fresh with actors, it was still an enjoyable experience, and what a way to kick off the Halloween season. So, like I said, we were fortunate enough to visit before any of the public did, so we got a sneak preview of all of the mazes. We did Camp Kilmore, we did Blind Fury, Slaughterhouse, Night Terrors, and the new Oddballs Funhouse. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to sort of review briefly each of the mazes that we visited, and I'm going to rank them 1 through 5, and just give you a little bit of detail about them. I don't want to go into too much because who wants to have maze spoiled for them, then there's no point in visiting at all. But overall, I will say the mazes were fun. I wouldn't say they had a high scare or a high thrill factor to them. But they're just fun to go through. If you got a group of friends, it's going to be a good time. But as far as the fear factor that's in the mazes, you're better off spending your money someplace like Creepy World or other places around St. Louis that actually specialize in that thrill. This is just more of a fun extra thing to do at Six Flags St. Louis. Like I said, there wasn't nothing that was too spectacular or special about them. But overall, I will say, again, they were fun. So if you're looking for that extra fun while you're at Six Flags St. Louis, then I would definitely recommend buying the ticket to do the mazes at Fright Fest. So let's start out with the number 5, the bottom of the list, and that is going to be Camp Killamore. In seasons past, Camp Killamore would actually go through Hurricane Harbor. It was always kind of one of those where it had potential but never really lived up to it. I've done Camp Killamore probably 2 times in the past seasons, and I never really had, it just kind of seemed short, and it never really had that jump scare factor to it. There was areas where there was potential. I think at one point it takes you through the locker rooms, but there was never any scare actors inside that area, and that was kind of the creepiest part. But there was never any scare actors there to really jump out and scare you, and there was tons of opportunities for it. So I've never been a big fan of Camp Killamore, so I was interested to see this year when it changed locations. The new area where it's at now is open, so you're outside again, you're not actually inside a haunted house. The openness kind of, I thought maybe it would be a really awesome experience, but instead you could really see all the actors before you really got to them, so there wasn't any jump scares. I'm sure maybe they'll work on it as the season progresses and create those opportunities for jump scares, but there just wasn't much of that in this maze. There wasn't a lot of effects either. There's this part where you kind of have a lot of fog, and that part's really cool, but besides that, there's really no effects that are trying to scare you as well. I will say the theming was really cool. I won't go into detail on all the things that were themed. You want to go and check it out yourself. But if you're there, it's crowded, and you have to choose between mazes, I honestly would pass on Camp Killamore. Not only weren't there many jump scares or many actors, or there wasn't any like really cool effects, it also seemed really short as well. So if you're going to choose a maze and maybe you only have time to do 4, I would pass on Camp Killamore. Next one was Night Terrors, and we did this one first. Night Terrors has great potential. I thought the scare actors that were in the haunted house did a fantastic job. They were really interactive with us, and they had some really good jump scare opportunities. The only issue is that at the time there wasn't enough of them. So it's hard for me to judge this. Maybe on a day where they have tons of scare actors in there, this would maybe rank at number 1. So right now it's number 4. But maybe it would rank at number 1 if it had more of those. As far as effects, there's some in there, but nothing too scary in my opinion. This is mainly the actors interacting with you, and I thought that was the fun part of Night Terrors. Coming in at number 3, we have Blind Fury, and in the past, this is actually ranked high for me. The scare actors, they were okay. Some of them were very interactive. Some of them it just were kind of like, oh, okay, you've been there, and we see you, and that's great, and they just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. Nothing against them, just it you know, at the time that we went, it wasn't, there wasn't a lot of scares, and there wasn't a lot of interactions as well. And Blind Fury felt really short as well. I don't know if it's because we were just blazing through that maze, but it, you know, when we got to the end, I was like, oh, wow, we're already here at the end, and I thought I remembered it being much longer. But overall, I still liked it better than Night Terrors, just for the effects alone. I think the effects in Blind Fury have always been fun. If you like kind of those mazes, then you'll enjoy Blind Fury. And again, I like them better than Camp Killamore and Night Terrors. Moving on to number 2, we have the brand new Oddballs Funhouse. I like this maze because it seems very different from all the other ones. There's a lot of noise effects, there's a lot of strobe light effects. You're in there and there's kind of like this black light scene, and there's lots of colors, and it's just very clown themed-ish. So there's lots of clowns in there, and it's got that really fun and kind of that scary vibe to it. You know, if you're afraid of clowns, you're gonna hate this maze. I had a great time in it. I thought some of the effects and just some of the places that they took you in, and the theming, I thought was awesome. I wasn't really expecting all that. Probably the most fun I had in the mazes when I went on my trip. So it was really fun. A little bit on the short side, but the actors that were in there were fun, and just, again, some of the mazes, the effects and the floor, the things they did with the floor, the shifting floor and everything were really fun. Not a lot of jump scares in this one either. This one, though, I was walking toward the back, so that could have really affected it. But the front of my group, I don't think they really got jump scared that much either. So that could be something where it can improve. But I think this maze has tons of potential, and I'm really glad they added it. It really threw me off in the beginning because I thought, when you read it online, you think that it's going to be more by Supergirl, but it's in between the games. So, you know, where they have the games going down in the Britannia area. It's actually just kind of tucked back in a corner, and so I almost didn't see it. We had trouble finding it at first, and finally when we found it, we're like, oh, it's actually going through the exit of Thunder River. So if you know where the exit of Thunder River is, there you go. That's how you find Oddball's Funhouse, and that is our number 2 maze. Finally, at number 1, which is shocking for me because in the past I've really not liked this maze at all, but it's Slaughterhouse. And this was a long maze, and that's why it's at my number 1. I might have liked the effects and the scare actors in Oddball's Funhouse better, but Slaughterhouse felt like it was going on forever, and that was really cool. And there was also tons of scare actors in there. I don't know why it felt that way, but it just seemed like everywhere we go there was 1 to 2 scare actors, and they were jumping out of everywhere. So it was the most interactive. As far as effects, a little bit. At one point, this is the funniest part of the whole maze, is at one point this one of the scare actors, you have the meat sacks that are hanging from the ceiling, you kind of have that row and you have to kind of walk through them, and he was taking that and actually hitting people in our group with it, and I was like, I'm not sure if he's supposed to be doing this, but it actually made it really fun. At one point, he hit my friend in just an area where you're a guy you don't want to be hidden. He hit him there and then kind of got him in the head a little bit. And then he got my brother, and then I walked through, and he's just kind of like repeatedly going at me in the wall. And I was like, oh, this is kind of bold for this guy to be doing this. So I'm not sure, but I did appreciate the interactiveness and all this characters like that. There were some really good hiding spots where people would just jump out at you all of a sudden, and that was really fun. So if they could kind of take what they did with Slaughterhouse this year, and if that can kind of go to the rest of the mazes, then the mazes have some great potential. But so far on the visit this year, Slaughterhouse was my favorite. Again, the longest for sure, or at least that's what it felt like, and definitely a lot more scare actors and jump scare opportunities. So that is my review of the mazes for 2019 at Six Flags St. Louis's Fright Fest. Overall, I think it's going to be a really good year, and even if you're not a big fan of the mazes, like I said earlier, visiting Six Flags St. Louis during this time is always the best because the park's open late, so you get tons of night rides, and our wooden coasters are the best to ride at night. I could marathon boss at Fright Fest. The only downside I've always said to Fright Fest is that it's so busy. So if you're visiting from out of town, I would recommend getting a flash pass because, well, first I would recommend going to the park first, making sure it's busy, because you might run into one of those days where it just happens to be a day where nobody's showing up to the park. Then again, you wouldn't need a flash pass then. But if you're going there and the parking lot is full, I would recommend getting a flash pass. I remember one year I visited during Fright Fest, and it took me 45 minutes just to get water. So the park, this is when the park is kind of popping, especially if you go later in October. So keep that in mind. That's really the only downfall to Fright Fest. Otherwise, it is such a fun atmosphere. Even just the scare zones, if you don't pay for the mazes, even the scare zones are pretty interactive and fun as well. Thank you for watching this review and vlog. If you like it, give it a like and subscribe to Destination Thrills, the destination for all the latest theme park news and content. I'm Hale Benz. Have a good one.